Hey, what's up everybody? It's Flux of fluxwithit.com, and today we're going to check out the ASM HydraSynth, and I'm going to be creating a pad sound using the HydraSynth. Now, this video is basically just going to show you how quick and easy it is to come up with something kind of complex and evolving. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with an initialized patch, oscillator 1. You'll see that we have a saw wave here. And we're in the single mode, which means that when I change the waveform, it just abruptly changes to that waveform. We're going to go ahead and change that to a wave scan, go into wave edit list. Now the random function allows me to hold that button down, press any feature on here, and I can randomize that individual feature, or I can randomize a complete patch. I'm in the wave edit list here. This is going to allow me to construct my own wavetable. So what I'm going to do is press random, and then I'm going to select each of these individual waveforms, and I'll actually kind of jump through it a little. And by pressing these individual buttons, we can demo those individual sounds. We can preview them and hear them. So if we hit exit, we can now hear those waveforms when we wave scan. And there's a couple in there that, in my opinion, are just a little bit too far out for where I want to be. Let's change them up a little bit. I'll put my own name in here, why not? Let's drop that back a bit. Okay, so let's hear how this sounds. Okay, so that sounds good. Now I'm going to use LFO3 to modulate that wave scan. So all I need to do is press LFO3 and then press oscillator 1, and I've set a mod matrix assignment to oscillator 1 pitch. I'm going to adjust that till I hit wave scan, and I'll turn that up a good bit. And let's turn that into a unipolar LFO. Nice. Hit exit. And go to LFO3. Let's go ahead and turn that to a triangle. We'll slow it way down. And we'll let it be free running. Now in the mod matrix, I'm actually going to drop the amount back a little bit. There, so now we have these nice tonal changes going on here. Let's go ahead and put a mutant on here. Now the mutant is going to allow me to modify how the oscillator sounds. And what I want to do here is I want to add some wave stacking. That's kind of like that super saw sound where you're having multiple copies of the waveform and phase shifting them and getting some really interesting sounds that way. It really makes a patch get a bit wider. So bring in the dry wet and the depth. So we're already starting to get into some interesting territory with that. And then Mutant 2, I'm actually going to apply some harmonic sweeps. So let's listen to how that sounds. So it's going to peak out some of these harmonics. And I'm going to drop that oscillator volume a bit. And I'm going to drop my amp level just a hair because I'm going to be playing with the filter in a minute. I want to have lots of room to where I'm not blowing my eardrums out. So now, let's go. Let's modulate that harmonic amount by envelope 3. So envelope 3 to mutant 2. And we'll change the depth. So we'll have the depth come up to about 80. And let's change the shape of this envelope. Now here's where it's going to get really cool. So I'm going to give it about 2, maybe 3 seconds. About a 3-second envelope, right around there. The decay. Fly in here. Okay. And the decay will do about 14 seconds. Throw some release on there for good measure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on envelope looping, and I'll have it loop about 8 times. So now I've got, a looping envelope controlling that harmonic suite. Okay. Now, that's all just one oscillator. Let's go ahead up and bring up that second oscillator. Nice way to hear that second oscillator. We can turn solo on, oscillator 2. So now I can affect my oscillator 2 and not have to worry about being distracted by the other waveform. Here's another way to change this wave edit list. Shift and a wave will change all the subsequent waveforms after it as well. So let's take this right about here. Exit. Sounds good. Okay, so now we're getting kind of like these harmonic sounds, but it's actually coming from the waveform and not from any kind of effect on the oscillator. Mutant 2, we can play with this just to kind of get an idea as far as where we're going to end. The FM. Let's turn that to a sine. So you can change the source of the FM. You have, sine, triangle, oscillator 1, oscillator 2, oscillator 3, ring mod, noise, and then all the different mutants and your modulation sources as well. So let's go ahead and drop the ratio. Yeah, just slightly off. Then you can play with that depth. And that can be really fun to modulate. So let's go ahead and take another envelope. 4 is going to go to our mutant 3 here. Dry wet. And envelope 4, let's give it a nice, interesting shape. at this point, we want to change our amplitude envelope to get more into that pad territory as well. So I'll give it a nice attack. Let's take a look at our mod matrix again. So envelope 4 is controlling that FM. What else would be nice to do to that? Well, how about we send a mod matrix of polyphonic aftertouch, poly aftertouch, to envelope 4 sustain amount, and we'll increase that. So now, once it So now we have the ability to kind of control the sustain amount, and we'll also do a little bit more with polyphonic aftertouch. Go to mutator 3, depth, increase that just a bit. So now we've got some really interesting control right there on our polyphonic aftertouch. In the voicing section, I'm going to turn on random phase for the oscillators. And what that's going to do is, instead of triggering the oscillator every time we press a key, I don't want them to be synced like that. I want them to just be free running oscillators. So random phase is on now, and I'm also going to turn up the analog feel, which allows some drift across the key bed. While we're at it, we can increase the stereo width. Okay, and let's play with some filtering. Now we've got 11 different filter types in filter 1 alone. All right, so we can select through here. Now, the Thriller is a special filter to me because this is actually a filter that I personally helped to model, and it's literally the filter that's in my Eurorack system. I liked it so much, I said, you know what, this would be great to have in a synthesizer. The team totally agreed, and we kind of tweaked it a bit so it's not the exact same. We wanted to kind of refine it a little bit because, hey, if you're in the digital space, why not refine things to make them sound exactly how you want them? And that's what we did here. So the resonance can go really crazy on this filter. And you'll notice that the control is very smooth. And you can use your dedicated cutoff control here as well. For programming, I like to use these for now. When I'm performing, I'll use these. When I'm programming, I tend to use these. Now we'll give it some envelope amount. And we will play with that envelope a little bit. Give it some release. Drop the sustain way low. A little bit. And why not, in our mod matrix, do another polyphonic aftertouch trick and assign it to the filter. Give it a little bit of cutoff boost. lots of control in the polyphonic aftertouch area. Okay, and now it's going to be nice to get some more movement going. So let's use LFO 4, and we're going to sweep our filters left and right. We're going to be panning our oscillators left and right. So what I'm going to do here is actually, we'll change that to mixer. Okay, go to oscillator 1, pan. We'll increase that, 45 as well. Slow it down a bit. Triangle wave. Let it be free running. And mixer section, I forgot I still have solo on. Let's turn that off. So now the whole mix is really kind of panning around us, and it's really giving us some space. Speaking of space, reverb is wonderful on this machine. Let's go ahead and give it a cloud reverb. Give it a little bit of pre-delay, not too much. We'll say like 26 milliseconds. Time will be, let's say, about a 7-second reverb. Tone, maybe about 28. Now when we do this... quite nice. Now I'm going to drop that dry wet to 0, and I'm going to go to macro, and I'll use my macros to control my reverb, because I don't always want a completely washed out sound, and I like to be able to control that a little bit more from the front panel. So what we'll do is set our macro, hit reverb, destination is reverb now, turn that to dry wet, come down here, increase that to 128, so that'll give me full control over the dry wet mix of my reverb. Then I'm going to press down 3 times. I'm in the custom name area. Let's go to list name, turn this right to reverb. Reverb is now selected, hit exit. Now I have a macro for reverb. Lots of nice control there, right? We'll drop that reverb just a bit back. And I'm going to do another cool macro assignment for the reverb. Now, what I want to do is assign my time, and I'm going to assign the time to the button value as well, okay? What that's going to allow me to do is essentially freeze the reverb just by the press of a button. So let's assign that name, and this time when I go to list, I'm going to select reverb, but I'm actually going to edit the name. So you can use this list name area to quickly give you some of the characters that you want and then edit them. So we'll do. So this way I'll know exactly what this is. This is my reverb time, all right? So now when I'm playing, if I press this button, it'll freeze that reverb. And then when I press it again, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's set up a delay. The delay, I'm going to go ahead and turn this to a reverse delay. I'll increase the time a good bit here. And feedback, wet tone will be just a little bit darker. Turn this up, let's hear it. This is one that I really like to modulate as well. So for this one, I'll go ahead and use LFO5. Let's turn it to a single trigger, and let's make it slow, and it will be saw up, and yeah. Okay, so LFO5 to delay. Now I'm not going to actually assign any amount to this, all right? We are on source number 8, so source is 7, 8, 9. We're on source 8, and I'm going to hit exit. Macro is going to go right here. Actually, we'll do, just because I like to stay organized, macro is going to for this. And what this is going to be is do mod matrix number 8, and we'll increase this. Actually, you know what? We'll have it decrease 30 or 40 somewhere. Let's see how this sounds. Now you can demo how your mod matrix or your macro knob sounds right inside this window. This is that macro while you're inside the window. So let's turn that all the way up. That sounds cool to me. If you don't like that, there's something wrong. Yeah, I like it. So, let's go ahead and, again, we need to name that. So, we'll name this. I don't know, what are we going to? We'll call it time, right? Time. W. How easy is it to do these macros? I mean, that's great, right? And then macro assign here is going to be our delay wet dry. All right, turn that all the way up. Assign that name real quick. Delay, exit, go back to the delay, turn that down. You could set that to whatever you want, but I like to have it all the way down so that, you know, when I'm playing it, I can bring it in. If I want less of that time warping. Yes, very, very nice. Okay. Let's get into some pre-effects here as well. Pre-effects, I'm going to give this one the lo-fi treatment. I love this effect. It lets you get some really nice character out of the synth. Now dry, when you bring this up, I'll drop the resonance down. Bring that cutoff up a bit, and I'm going to drop the sample rate. 1. And there's different filter types on here too. The radio filter is really cool. So let's take that dry wet down and let's have some fun with this. So what we'll do is, for now, this is a bit of an odd assignment, but why not? I'm going to press ribbon, and I'll turn that to relative, and pre-effects. This is going to go to my dry wet. I'll have it go all the way up. So not only am I raising the pitch of the oscillators, but I'm bringing in that lo-fi effect to alias anything high pitch. And if you want to remove the pitch bend aspect of it, you just press the ribbon button and turn it to mod only. Another fun thing to do with the ribbon is, we'll go ahead and, now why not, have it go to your reverb. We'll do dry wet, I'll increase it a bit, and then reverb. Oh. Reverb time, increase that a bit. So you can just kind of really start spacing things out and getting them weird with that ribbon controller. That's always fun. Post effects. Phaser's nice. We'll go ahead and drop that back to dry. Set the phase to 90. Alright. And we'll turn that dry. Exit. Let's go ahead and do a macro for that real quick. Dry wet. 100, we'll name it. Phase. Okay, so now we have that in there as well. And to mutant 4, I'm just kind of looking around here. How about mutant 4? We'll change that one. We'll do a pulse width squeeze. Yes, that's good. Okay. And that one I'm also going to do polyphonic aftertouch on it, because why not? So, mod matrix, poly aftertouch. Go to 4. It's going to depth, and I'm going to have it go to wet. We haven't even touched filter 2 yet. I mean, you can, if you want to smooth everything out. Maybe mixing a little bit of the bandpass side. Let's send a we'll send an envelope. really, you can have anything modulating anything, and just play with it. But that's essentially the workflow on the HydraSynth. It's just super quick and easy to work with. And if you want to save your patch, you just hit the save button. You can name it pretty quick. So do this. I'll call it that. Of course, we see. That's all there is to it. Pretty darn easy. Anyway, this is Flux, fluxwithit.com. If you have any questions or comments about the HydraSynth, please feel free to get in touch. Peace.